Welcome back to the FUT Champions Cup, stage 1 here in Bucharest, Romania. It is day 2. We've had our first round of fixtures and we're ready for some more, aren't we? And Mark's joined us.
Hello.
Yeah.
How you doing? You all right?
That was quite exciting for you in there.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting. We got through a lot of games, a lot of upsets. I'm sure that all the Brazilian fans who are watching at the moment are having a great time. 2 of their players obviously going through, knocking out some of the biggest names, not just in the tournament, but in FIFA esports. So congratulations to them. And I'm sure that now that they've got through those 2 big opponents, they're going to be thinking, why can't I go the whole way?
Definitely, and one man that will be hoping to go the whole way, and I'm sure the audience, or a lot of his fans will be, is Tekkz. So we're going to see another helping of Tekkz now, because we're going to see each individual game as it's played out behind us in this main stage. So we're going to start, because of the bracket, with Tekkz versus Phil. So let's start off. Has Phil got a chance here?
Anyone's got a chance at this point in the tournament. I think we have just been proven that anyone has a chance in the tournament. The best time to beat some of the best players in the world is early in the game. You know, when everyone's picking it up, everyone's on that same level again, everyone's on that learning curve. So why not? I think Phil's achieved what he wanted to, which is, of course, you know, he's making it through. It was one of those, you know, qualifiers to the next tournament. So that's great news for him. But for Tekkz, the road is paved for a 3-time in a row first tournament of the year. You know, record. Not quite sure. We could probably phrase that a little bit better, to be honest with you.
3 in a row. Just say 3 in a row.
I mean, Bucharest has been good to him, but 3 in a row, first tournament of the year. I think the road is there. He's just got to complete it.
Yeah.
You said anyone has a chance, though. Does anyone have a chance against Tekkz?
Yeah.
That's a different person. I know we've just seen Dasari go out, and we saw Mo Alba go out, but they kind of had a few wobbles anyway. In Megabit, they had a few wobbles, whereas Tekkz hasn't had a wobble yet. I mean, in Swiss round.
I mean, for Sakul kept Tekkz at 0-0 for right until the last knock-ins of the second leg. So it just shows if one chance falls your way on FIFA 20, if you can take that, you can hold a 1-0 lead. It's easier, in my opinion, to hold a lead on FIFA 20 than it was on FIFA 19. It's more difficult to pressure the ball, to win that ball back and create chances. So I think if you can steal a lead away, if you get a little bit of fortune going your way that sometimes, you know, evades players, if you can get that goal on the board, it completely changes the dynamic of the game. So if you can get the lead against Tekkz, you can do it.
It's interesting to see how the dynamic will change now they've got that physically moved station as well and come into this stage. We've talked about the different scenarios, haven't we, that could change who qualifies for the next event with this Masters qualification feature. That is going to come into play with this game because we've got Phil SKS going up against Tekkz, and he's actually playing for himself here right now. If he makes it through to the last 4, he obviously qualifies himself for the next event. Tekkz is already qualified for that event, so if he wants to do him a favour, which I'm sure he doesn't, because Tekkz wants to go the whole distance and make it a 3rd year in a row winning the first event. But yeah, Phil playing for himself. Of course, if he gets through, we'll see him at the next event, and I'm sure he'd be decent at the next event because he's playing good FIFA.
How much more pressure is that for Phil, though, knowing that if he has to do so much in this game for obviously this tournament and to be here again in 2 weeks' time? I don't think I'd want to be in his position. I think I'd be a bit
This
too
is the biggest game
stressed
of
out.
the tournament for him, isn't it?
And behind us as well. He's going to be sitting there.
Because not just this tournament, it impacts the next one as well. So, you know, and the fact that he's got to play arguably the best player at the event so far in Tekkz. If he wins this, not only is he qualified to the next one, he's knocked out Tekkz. He could go on and win the tournament. Yeah. So he's got to kind of have that mentality of like, one game here, if I win this, everything's fantastic, everything's gold. Yeah,
he can relax a bit, can't he? Because those permutations are particularly important at this event as well, because I think I'm right in saying it's the only event where the qualifying for the next event has already happened. Yeah. So in the future, yeah, the top 4 will qualify, but then the qualifying for that event will happen after that event, whereas this time it's happening after, so it means that we know in advance who will make it. So it's particularly important for this game. But we know who it's going to be, obviously, between Phil and Tekkz. And last time we had the Tekkz predictions, it was a clean sweep. I've got a feeling it could be the same, but we'll start with you, Mark. Who are you backing? I'm
going to go with Tekkz just for the composure that he showed in that last game. I don't think he's showing any weaknesses. The way that he's defending, he's winning the ball back high. He's shown with the way that he won that penalty that he's still got that little something special when he gets in the 18-yard box and he can still score goals. So I have to go with Tekkz. I'd be crazy to bet against him.
Rachel, do we...
I really want to go against him, but I think I'd be silly if I did.
Just
because I just said that Phil's got so much to gain. And I think if he really thinks about what he can gain in the qualification for the next round, top 4. Shall I go with Phil? Phil, I love you. I'm going with you.
There we go.
Wow, okay.
Bit of peer pressure was all it took.
Well, I think that
so easy swayed.
I think that interview with Tekkz was really interesting, wasn't it? Because he talked really well about the struggles of last year. He kind of played it down how much time he's put into FIFA this year, which, if true, is amazing that he's kind of relaxing and still doing so well. You wonder whether that's playing his chances down a little bit.
It's balance, isn't it? It's the same with anything. You know, you take yourself away from esports, you talk about work-life balance with people in everyday life. That's the thing. And Tekkz last year burnt out. It was you could see it towards the end of the year. You could see at tournaments that he wasn't quite the same Tekkz he was at the start of the year when he was enjoying himself more and he was excited for tournaments. So I think it's smart. I think I don't know if there's been input from other people in his life about that as well, but you know, he's a little bit older now. He's got a few more things that he can do as well. You know, he can socialise a lot more being 18 and kind of has that part of his life. So I think just as an all-round human, he's probably matured a little bit, and it comes into his FIFA. It's good to see. And
do you think joining the new team in Fnatic has helped him give that guidance you mentioned and kind of keep him motivated throughout the year?
Well, he's only just joined yet, so I guess we don't know.
That's their job, though, isn't it? That's what they're.
I think Fnatic, one of the biggest esports organisations in the world, and one of the most professional, and one of the best at getting the best out of their players and catering for their needs. So I was very happy when I saw that Tekkz had signed for them, because I know that Fnatic will look after him incredibly well, make sure that he has everything he needs, and I think they're going to be fantastic for Tekkz moving forward. I think it's a really good deal for him. Yeah,
definitely. And what do you think he does need to do? And we will focus on other players as well, but just when we talk about Tekkz here, what do you think it is that he needs to do going forward to stop that burnout, as you mentioned? Because Mo Alba, for example, played a similar amount of events as Tekkz last year, but still hit at his prime at the right time.
Well, I think he's doing it right at the moment. Like he said, he's not playing so much FIFA outside of the tournaments as well. So potentially that's going to help him if he can kind of come to the qualify, obviously, or he might do it by coming top 4 here, come to the tournaments and enjoy them and not kind of maybe get sucked into the world like he said he wasn't doing back at home in his everyday life. So he gets excited when he's at the tournament and really relishes the chance to play some FIFA because he's not doing it as much day to day.
We're just waiting for a little bit while the guys get ready for their matchup. So while we wait, who else has impressed you the most? Not just including Phil.
I want to talk about the Brazilians just because they've knocked out such established players. You know, it's absolutely huge. Spider-Kong, the way that he played, it was just incredible. He was free-flowing. He was goal-scoring. He didn't look troubled. And, you know, even, you know, his Brazilian, you know, compatriot who won his game as well, the impressive thing about that is Nicholas is pressing really high up the pitch. Nicholas is trying to win the ball back. Nicholas is trying to score goals. Just wasn't phased by it at all. Played it so calm. And it looked like he'd been performing on this kind of stage against these big players the whole time. And like we didn't see a lot of him last year. So the fact that he's come into this tournament and played at that level and shown that composure, that's a big thing for me in tournament play, especially in knockout games when the pressure's on. You need to have that natural composure about your game, that natural composure about, you know, you as a person. And they've shown that. And when you get to those knockout games, they can go a long way in this tournament. I'd certainly keep an eye on those two.
Yeah. Rachel, anyone jumped out for you?
Yeah, I mean, Dylan Mike as well, because he's so young still. We always talk about Tekkz being really young. Dylan Mike's obviously younger when he won his first ever tournament here in Bucharest in January of this year. Yeah, he just won again on penalties to go through to this round here, the quarterfinal round. He's got, though, Razik next, which is...
That's a tough one.
...is going to be pretty tough for that youngster. But, yeah, I think he's still kind of learning the FIFA scene and all these kind of major tournaments as well. We saw him a couple of times last year, so for him to come to the first one of the season as well, just like this man, sitting in his seat, getting ready, youngster, kind of putting all the pressure behind him. Yeah, he's doing super well.
Just to touch back on what the conversation we were having before and the question you asked about pressure and, you know, everything that came on Tekkz last year, you got to remember that dealing with that is something that you just don't have in your life a lot of the time. And then to have so much success, so much, you know, so many cameras in your face, so many questions asked at that young age, you know, you can't prepare for that. You just have to, you know, deal with it. And coming out the other side of that with a bit more experience now is certainly helping Tekkz. I think taking that step away from Twitter and Instagram and all those sort of things where there's a lot of negativity as well as positivity, obviously, from his fans. It just makes everything so much more simple. He's here to play FIFA. He's going to play FIFA, and he's going to win games of FIFA. Everything else that's around it, you can kind of take to the side. And I think it's a really clear mindset to have.
Yeah, we've seen the guys get in their positions now just behind us, and obviously Phil there we should talk about because it's a great opportunity for him to not only progress, get himself qualified for the next event as we've touched on, but knock out, arguably you'd say, if you're taking this first event, the best player in the world.
He's been the best player at this event so far.
Tekkz has been, certainly, and you know, on last year, arguably the best player in the world in terms of the year, so it's a massive moment for him to make a statement. But we're going to get the predictions from the casters in a minute, but you're going with Phil, aren't you?
I'm going with Phil. Yes, Phil, I'm going with you. But also, you forget, there's money involved and there's a lot of points involved as well. We kind of always talk about qualifying for the next tournament, but you know, they want the points ultimately for the whole season to get to the playoffs and then obviously to go to the FEWC. So there's loads at stake in this game. Yeah,
so we've got our predictions from the couch here. We've got a Tekkz from Mark. We've got a Phil from Rachel. I'm going to go Tekkz as well, but what do our casters think? Richard and Brandon. Brandon loves an off-piste prediction. Is he going to give us another one? Brandon, are you there? And can you give us your predictions for this game?
Yes, I am here, Spencer. Of course, joined by Mr. Richard Buckley next to me. He also does love a stern prediction. Normally against me. I'm going to go for Tekkz. I backed him on the couch. Still unbeaten, 5-0 in Swiss. Won his knockout game, his first knockout game. I honestly think he's going to go and win this FUT Champions Cup.
Do you know what? Looking at the permutations of the qualification, I'm pretty sure we've just worked it out that Phil SKS is already qualified because he actually goes through if Tekkz goes through. If Tekkz gets the top 4 finish, he goes through because it was the last player that he beat in the qualifier. So Phil's through. He's got no pressure at all.
Does he know that? Does he know that?
Yeah.
If you didn't, you've just heard it.
Yeah. Well, he does now. So I'm going Phil. He's got no pressure. He's going in. He's just going to play his FIFA and he's going to knock Tekkz out.
Well, it's interesting because you bring that up because these guys have played each other a lot before, right?
Yep.
Tekkz alluded to in his interview, and the fact that they did play each other in qualifying is the reason that that permutation exists. Does that give Phil any kind of edge that he's seen a lot of Tekkz's game already this year?
I think so. This will be the 3rd time that they've played. They played twice, once in Swiss yesterday, and then twice in the qualifiers, once in knockout, once in Swiss. I think every single game that he's played against Tekkz, it's been, oh my God, I'm playing Tekkz. It's a massive game. It's a massive game. Right now, he's already qualified. It's just it's a prize money game, really, and a point game for him. I think Phil's going to take it. I'm on Team Rachel. Phil's going to have it.
Yes, Richard and Rachel.
I think it's Team Phil, really, is what the team
Well, sorry,
you're on.
Richard and Richard for Team Phil. Woo!
All right, so 2 predictions for Phil, 3 for Tekkz. The stats suggest a Tekkz win, but we know it doesn't always go that way. Over to you guys as we get this game ready. Enjoy it.
Thank you very much, Spencer. And yes, here we go then, guys. Our first quarter-final of the first, obviously, FIFA 20 FUT Champions Cup of this year, live in Bucharest. Our last 8 now, Richard Buckley, of course, and it will be Tekkz kicking us off against Phil SKS. And, you know, you speak about players coming back this year and players really getting back into, you know, competing in competitive FIFA. Phil was one of those players that was part of that Barcelona FUT Champions Cup, which feels like years ago, because it was years ago, but I mean, it feels like a long, long time ago, in which apparently I used to call him Philski.
Yeah.
And apparently his community loved that, but it's actually Phil SKS.
Now look where we are. That was Tekkz's first ever event. He won that event in Barcelona, and now with many months later, many moons later, and we're here in Bucharest in a quarter-final. To bring you up to date, you might be thinking, yeah, we're watching Tekkz. He's one of the favourites who's gone through. This is a list of names who are out of the competition, okay? Mo Alba, Megabit, Dasari, Nicholas, Dax, Tuga, Sakul, Go Machine, Resende.
Well, wait a minute. These names are through?
Out. Gone.
They're names you think would be going through, obviously, into the quarterfinals and so on. But you heard it there a little bit earlier from Tekkz about how he's, you know, approaching this year mentally. I think Onset, you know, hit the nail on the head about Fnatic, a fantastic organisation for him, just to look after him.
Yep.
You know, very much a family vibe, as you said. They're into so many esports as well, and obviously they've achieved so many things within the world of esports. Here's a little bit of information there for you about Phil SKS, Richard. Before this tournament, he went on a 3-day fast. So just fluids for 3 days to get his body ready, get his body ready for this tournament.
Can you say that again, please?
He went on a 3-day fast. Do you know what it means? Didn't eat for 3 days.
What a hero.
There's reasons behind this as well. There's obviously, he was telling me about this as how his body cleanses, new cells come into it. I was just kind of blown away by it all. And obviously, he has a very special diet, he was telling me, salads and stuff like that. It's like Mr. Dunn we're talking about.
He's on the
here.
Christian Spiteri diet.
He could be on the Christian Spiteri diet. So is that something we look into of, you know, how he's prepared for this tournament, taking every single game as it comes? And I've seen after every single matchup, he'll go outside the venue, have a walk around for 10, 20 minutes.
Get that oxygen flowing.
Yeah, just prepare himself for his next game, because this is a massive game. It's our first quarter-final from the Xbox side. 500 Global Series points are already guaranteed, and $3,500 are too. It's all about jumping onto that next stage now. And as we know, who will be making that top 4? Who will be getting those master trophies in our first FUT Champions Cup? It's all to play for. 2 legs of FIFA in front of us. Phil SKS up against Fnatic Tekkz.
And who will be the first player cemented into the first Championship Sunday of FIFA 20? Shout out Will Brazier for the use of the word of permutations as well.
The pause is cued nice and early on by Tekkz. He's clearly not happy with Summit. And as you said, Richard, we are playing on the main stage now. Does that take anything away from these guys? Because they were in the players' booth early. 64 players, obviously still there now, playing Weekend League and so on.
Yeah, 100%. I think you've got to look at this venue in particular. It's on a stage. You've got the lights, you've got the cameras, you've got no other distractions. You're not in a Vamos, you're not in a Let's Go from around you. It's you locked in to that arena.
And what an interesting round of 16 game it was for Tekkz up against Sakul. It was 0-0 for quite a long time heading into that second leg as Tekkz will try and get the first real chance in this game. Obviously, kicking from left to right in that Liverpool kit. You can see you never walk alone flags all around the field. On the other side of that, if you wonder where Phil SKS is from, he's an Austrian, obviously born and bred, played in the E-Bundesliga. That's the Austrian FIFA esports league over there, and plays for a team called SK, I want to say Sturm Graz. I'm going to try and pronounce that one. Obviously, an Austrian team that he's played for quite a few years.
Yeah, 100%. He's very much a member of the die-hard FIFA community, you'd say. Always on Twitch, always streaming, giving feedback for people's teams, etc. I just want to point out as well, Lothar Matthäus starting for Phil in that midfield.
Here's the first real chance for Tekkz as well, around the edge of the box with R9, who's been so crucial for so many players, obviously, across Swiss into our knockout stage as well. If you have just joined us, this is day 2 of the FUT Champions Cup, stage 1 in Bucharest, Romania. Our first real chance of seeing the best FIFA 20 players in action. Obviously, with a lot of money up for grabs, $50,000 in fact will be going to someone tomorrow night. And that'll be our first ever, obviously, FUT Champions Cup winner for this year in FIFA 20.
4-2-3-1 matching up against the 4-4-2 second variation. Something that I've used myself quite a little bit, the 4-4-2 second variation with the 2 CDMs. You want 2 quite mobile, multi-use CDMs, though, and 91 Matthäus and 90 Ruud Gullit definitely suit the purpose of that player. Pele and Eusebio, your 2 wide players, a lot of pace, efficient enough weak foots, 5-star and 4-star respectively, and then up top, it looks like it's going to be R9 leading the line alongside Leo Messi. And
it really has been what this weekend, Rich. We've seen 11-man icon teams. We've seen 10 icons in a team. The only real change we've seen is Van Dijk either pushed in or a lot of people backing. Obviously not an icon in goal. We've seen a few people use like the likes of Yashin, obviously the Russian goalkeeper. I know Rafsu's a big fan of him. He's into the next stage of the tournament as well.
Actually, looking at the team right now, it's Neymar and Pele out wide, and then Eusebio and Messi up top together.
Well, he's the first real chance of the game for Phil SKS. Went down the goalkeeper's side on the second time of asking. Alisson's able to do just about enough. And Van Dijk, the Liverpool man himself, just getting Tekkz out of this danger.
Fantastic goalkeeper movement from Tekkz, just pulling him into the near post. He read the shots that Phil wanted to aim inwards towards the goal there. Shifted him across to that near post.
It does seem like the way to kind of finish when you want to win against the goalkeeper this year, that near post, instead of trying to bend it round the goalkeeper with finesse.
But this is where the game of chess happens again, doesn't it? Goalkeeper movement isn't as prevalent this year. It's quite slow when you're moving it with the right stick, but if you can just edge him a couple of yards to the left or right.
Oh, that's a great turn there, trying to just pull away from his man. But again, it's really well read by Van Dijk on that occasion. Tekkz coming straight back. Phil SKS, as we said, both of these two played each other in the Swiss rounds. What a save, Yashin. Just off his knee over the bar. 2 huge saves early on in this matchup from both ends of the field. And I think Phil was in shock as well of how Yashin just pulled that save off. Just kneed it over the bar, did enough for him. Obviously, he's happy to back, obviously, the Russian icon in goal. On the other side of that, I haven't really seen anyone really use Alisson.
It's good to see the variety in teams, though. Garrincha, Messi, Matthäus, Yashin in goal. We've seen Van der Sar. Interesting that no R9 or CR7 for Phil SKS. It pretty much feels like players that he's used to using, comfortable with online. Neymar, Messi, the players that got him to this stage he's stuck by with.
As we said, Richard, they did match in Swiss. Tekkz did get the win there. Obviously, Phil SKS went 3-2 in Swiss. Tekkz has not lost a game so far in Bucharest. 5-0 in Swiss. Picked up an important round of 16, 3-1 win against Sakul. On the other side of that, Phil SKS matched up against the French FIFA player in Mino. It was a 3-2 victory there to ensure that he would be in this quarter-final stage. But you have to give credit to Phil. It's what, 1, 2, 3 times when Tekkz has tried to just pull out that skill move, whether it's an elastica or just a simple fake shot heel to heel in and around his box. He's had to time every single tackle to perfection, and so far he has done that.
Yeah, it's less the timing the tackle, yes, and also not biting on the skill moves, not actually pressing tackles sometimes, just holding off. You see there, he's jockeying towards him, but he's not initiating any sort of rash tackle. He's not pressing circle. He's not pressing B or X to slide tackle. Just jockeying, just standing off, waiting for him to initiate the attacking movement, then taking the ball off of him. A lot of players right there, they jump into it, which means that the skill move looks better than it actually is because you're defensively making a mistake.
You just saw it again there from Phil. Very just calm and collected around the back. He knows that if he does come out, and as you said, Richard, bites onto that skill move, a gap is going to appear, and Tekkz is going to be able to exploit that.
That's a mistake.
This is a simple mistake there. R9's going to try and peel off him, and R9 actually could be through it. Laurent Blanc's going to have to come back in and try and save the day. Carlos Alberto, back to Yashin, and we're going to half-time at 0-0. Tekkz definitely the better player so far in these first 45 minutes.
Yeah, he's not really offered much going forward, Phil. He did have that chance at the near post with Eusebio. However, apart from that, really nothing to write home about. You see the passing accuracy, the possession, even Tekkz registering the one more shot on target. I feel as though Texas possession, if you looked at the individual thirds, it would be definitely in Phil's attacking, in his defensive third, and Texas attacking third, if that makes sense. Whereas Phil's possession, pretty much across his back four, into midfield slightly. He's not really offered much going forward in the attacking sense. Tekkz, very similar to Sakul, where he wasn't scoring, but he was creating, he was knocking on the door.
Well, it was a very interesting Swiss run for Phil SKS. It was 3-2 in wins, obviously, to defeats. He kicked off his campaign with an important win against Pro Hunter. 2 losses on the bounce against Dagacho and Tekkz, and had to respond in 2 elimination games back-to-back. And surely did enough there, and Tekkz surely does enough in that exact area. Getting the ball into Eusebio on the edge of the box and not missing on that occasion. Yes. Great finish from the icon.
Straight after half-time. Eusebio just turning his man, smashing it in on that left foot. 5-star weak foot is the key yet again. It's been the difference maker in a lot of the games that we've seen over the weekend. We're only on day 2.
As you said, Richard, a completely different type of team in use from Phil SKS. He's using Roberto Carlos in at left back. A lot of people choosing obviously to back Zambrotta on the left-hand side. Carlos Alberto has not moved an inch regarding his right-back position from Swiss to knockout. Still seems to be the player that everyone seems to use and enjoy. Van Dijk's way out of position there. Tekkz a little bit aggressive. Will give away a free kick. And expect this one to be played short.
Yeah, this is it. You can't change the camera angle, so usually you'd whip it into the area wanted, whereas now he's had to cue it with the target and cross it in manually.
It's in there.
But with crossing and heading, just not been as effective as it was in previous years of FIFA. That sort of area for a free kick, last year in FIFA, you're probably rubbing your hands at. This year, you probably want the ref to play advantage.
There's actually a chance for Phil SKS now. And he really had that one big chance within the first 45 minutes. Elastico there to try and open up some space for me. Still in possession. Pele happy to interchange with Eusebio, not once but twice. And that's Tekkz for you. So clinical in the defensive aspect to his game. He's just jockeying him with Ruud Gullit from left to right, and when the timing was right, then he just pressed that B button just to make the tackle, just to do enough.
You see no real panic, no real urgency going forward. He's taking his time on the passes, waiting for the gaps to open and then playing into them. But Phil SKS, these two, you'd say quite evenly matched. When they've played, it's not been a walkover for Tekkz. Beating 5-2 in Swiss.
It's important for him as well, Richard, that when you come up against a player like Tekkz, you said you're playing against that name factor as well. It's a big name to play against in a competition. You know the support that Tekkz has online within the world of FIFA esports. On the other side of that, Phil SKS, a very loyal and hardcore Austrian FIFA community that do support him on his streams as well at home. He seems to always love to rock a road to glory at the beginning of the year. But because he's played him in Swiss, as you said, Richard, I think he has to just take this like any other game now. You can't worry saying, oh, I'm up against Tekkz, he's won these many trophies, he's got this many followers. He might have lost that Swiss game, but he would have learned a thing or two from it.
Just killing the game right here, Tekkz. The way that he's keeping the ball, keeping hold of possession. Seeing that time fade away and the opportunity is starting to open.
Look at R9, lovely roulette. Nearly fell back to him if it wasn't from Laurent Blanc. Just standing in the way. As you said, Richard, so good how Tekkz can just change up his game from attacking the defending to then keeping possession. We jump into a pause now. We're going to probably look at a change or two from Phil SKS. He's got a stacked bench with a lot of pace on it.
On that bench as well. Looks like Garincha will be the man for him alongside Kylian Mbappe. The 4-2-3-1 still in use for Tekkz.
Obviously, another one of those new icons for this year. Garincha involved on that right-hand side. It's just that injection of pace that he can offer.
Looks like Cruyff making his way onto the pitch.
And there he is, first touch for the Brazilian icon. Neymar. Huge switch of play out to the right-hand side. Maldini, the one in choice. He'll be using, happy to bring on Johan Cruyff as well into the midfield for him.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Johan Cruyff, and the prime's not even available yet. So if the 91's making his way into arguably 85%, 80% of pros teams here in Bucharest, by the time that the pro comes out, I should say the prime comes out, you've got to think he will continue to make his mark on people's teams. With the 5-star, the pace, the dribbling, even the height, at 5'11", he is a little bit of a presence on the pitch.
Well, one of the big kind of decisions that we've seen a number of pros using is either go for Zidane or Vieira this year. Seems like Vieira probably does take most pros' votes. But we have seen Zidane, feature for a few people. I know Rafsu's a big fan of him. Chance now for Phil SKS. He's not going to get much time in around the box there. When the ball does go to your forwards' feet, whether it's Eusebio, R9, whoever it is, you have to know exactly what you're going to do before the ball even reaches that man.
That's that
for Tekkz.
I'm surprised with Phil not using R9, not starting him, given how impactful he's been for so many other players.
Cruyff. Little ball roll into the finish, and it's going to be saved away in the end. Garincha. He's just been introduced. Cruyff. Happy to bring in chance and pulled out another save from the goalkeeper in Yashim. Just under 5 minutes left. Tekkz in front, 1-0. Another silly foul, but time's ticking down. It doesn't matter for Tekkz. He's still got a second leg. He needs to hold on to this if he wants to jump up once again in the prize pool, or the point distribution that he will be getting if he jumps up into the semi-finals, Richard. 800 Global Series points will be to his name.
You see this free kick again. He's starting deep with Ruud Gullit, and he's making his move into the box. Gives himself a throw-in. Oh, Cruyff's kept that in somehow. Yeah, it's a little bit early for prize distribution, but making an early start, as we saw Joksan do last year, with the points, arguably was his ticket to the grand finals in the end.
It really was. What those first few tournaments of the year, LQEs, majors, the Continental Cup, obviously the one that he did win in October last year, was enough to ensure that he would be at the World Cup Grand Final. Last chance. This could be the big chance. It fell to Van Dijk. You saw exactly what he wanted to do. Gullit did stand in the way, and Tekkz could be on for a second in this game. This will be the last chance of the match. R9, one-on-one. If you can just maybe play the ball across, then Mbappe back defending, clears out for a throw-in. And thankfully, Phil SKS will be thinking to himself, I've got away with that one. And it's full-time 1-0.
Kylian Mbappe, the man to get back and save Phil's 1-0 deficit right there in that first leg. You know what? A 1-0 loss in the first leg, he'll take that. The only problem is, usually if you told somebody, yeah, you're going to lose the first game 1-0, they'd go, you know what? That gives me a good opportunity to turn this around in the second leg. You then say it's against Tekkz, arguably the best second leg FIFA player we've ever seen. Then you go, no, I'll not have that.
Yeah, we'll have
I'll not
else.
take it. Can we have a redraw?
Unfortunately for him, there's no redraw happening now. He's got a second leg up against Tekkz. There was positives to come out of it. We saw some fantastic defending from Phil SKS. We saw not too many chances, if we're honest. We saw that first chance within the first half of that first leg when he was one-on-one. He went for that near post finish. Tekkz read it. He moved his goalkeeper as both players just going to run off and get a drink now to ensure that they are ready for this second matchup. Of course, as we said, only 1-0 so far to Tekkz in this game. Whoever wins, obviously, as we know, is already going to be at the next FUT Champions Cup. Tekkz already qualified for it. Just looking at the bracket now, Richard, a word on it. It's so nice, for me as well and you, to see new names come through to the knockouts. We've got FIFA Ficho, the Croatian FIFA player. Spider Kong is back. We haven't seen him for a long, long time. Obviously, some other names on the other side of the console. You've got the likes of Lucas Rep back this year, which is great to see. So it's great that people are taking points, you would say, off the big boys this early on because they're going to have to come back and put up an incredible fight.
Yeah, 100%. I think, yes, fantastic to see so many new faces making the knockouts, making the latter stages of the competition. However, when you look at the bracket and you look at how it is potentially eyeing up, you've still got a console final possibility. And arguably this is what I would say we could be looking at the console final bracket on the Xbox will be Tekkz versus Nicholas Razek. A console final, a console semi-final we've had multiple times before. And both these two players, I always say Nicholas Razek is up there as one of the most consistent players year in, year out, every single year, alongside Tekkz, alongside Megabit, alongside Rafsu. And it's really, really shocking and surprising to me that he's yet to find a team. He's still a free agent.
I said it yesterday on the couch a number of times. Like, there's a handful of players that you can pick up and they will deliver
every tournament
on what you want as an organisation, to make events, to make knockout stages, to be seen on stream in main games because you're a huge player. And then Razek could be that player that, as we said, if he plays well here, could go and get himself a team. But as we said, of course, you guys have been watching, supporting the stream really, really obviously well the last few days. We've still got more action to come tomorrow, but there's a number of prizes, of course, they can pick up at home.
There is indeed. If you are liking what you're seeing and you want to maybe channel some of your inner Tekkz or your inner Dullen Mike, you can. All you have to do is link your EA and Twitch accounts and you'll be guaranteed to receive the TIFOs, the kits, the ball, and the stadium. That's a guarantee. Just link your Twitch account, watch the stream, and you will win the FGS bundle. I
know we spoke about yesterday what TIFO we'd like to use. I think it's got to be the Sari, the ear cup with the shush. Imagine that on FUT Champs.
I've got a question for you.
Go on.
If you were to have your own TIFO in FIFA, what would your sign be? So you've got Desari with the shush and the ear cup. You've got Nicholas, the little turn away, smiling. What would the Brandon Smith T4 pose be?
Maybe me just staring at gold one. Something on those lines. Celebration-wise, I know you're not a big celebration fan in FIFA eSport. When you play FIFA at home, you just skip it. What would yours be?
Skip the replay.
Would yours just be skip?
Ooh, I'm actually not too sure, to be honest.
I'll let you have a think about that one. But as we said, this tournament wouldn't be obviously possible without a number of our sponsors, of course, that are included. Turtle Beach are one of our sponsors. Obviously, go and drop them a follow at Turtle Beach. They are giving away one of their headsets as well this weekend. All the pros are using these headsets. I've got one at home. You've got one at home. And they are really kind of like the leading headsets within the FIFA eSports world. Yeah,
the Elite Pro 2 headset. And if you stay tuned throughout the weekend, you'll see a hashtag that you can use on Twitter, and you've got a chance of winning one of those said headsets. But they are top of the range headset, the Elite Pro 2.
They're that good. I've seen Richard travel around the world with them for FIFA events.
I have, yeah. Good boost in the in the music. Not only that as well, but on a number of different games. It's multi-purpose, not just FIFA. You don't only hear Martin Tyler in your ear, but you can hear a different array of games, and it's multifunctional.
Well then, as we said, we're about to jump into our second leg of our first quarter-final. Tekkz against Phil SKS. It's currently 1-0. How do you see this second leg going? Do you just see Tekkz being able to control it, Richard, now? Or are we going to see an early goal from Phil SKS?
I think Tekkz will... See, I predicted Phil SKS to win, but for that to happen, I think he had to win the first leg. now I'm in the moment of the game. I think Tekkz is going to apply the pressure. I think he's going to, you could say, put the sword to Phil. I've just had a T4 idea.
Go on.
Well, what about a T4 with, it'd be Chew Boy doing the little pause where, do you know the Chew Boy pause where he crouches and points? Imagine that every single time that I score a goal and it goes to the T4 and it's just Chew Boy pointing towards the camera. Oh,
He'll appreciate that. I'm sure he is watching somewhere in the world. Obviously, shout out to Chew on that. That's an idea for him.
yeah.
I'm waiting for your idea, and maybe we'll get it in a few games' time.
I need to think of a pause. I'm not really a big pauser. That's the only problem. I'll have a think.
I'll come back to you on that one. As you said, though, Richard, you feel like we are going to be seeing, obviously, Tekkz being able to see out this game. He went 1-0 up in the first game. He was able to create, more chances than Phil Tekkz. Phil Tekkz, unfortunately, only made 2 or 3. It is difficult against a player of Tekkz's ability to be able to get into the right spaces and make something happen. But he's had 5 minutes off now to go away. Think back to the Swiss round as well of what, he did score 2 goals. He can score goals. It's obviously he can score goals. He's in this stage of the competition for a reason. Picked up a 3-2 win against Mino, who's not an easy matchup at all. It's an early goal that we need to see from Phil SKS.
You have to see an early goal, and one of the reasons that people do struggle so much against Tekkz, I'm not sure if you watched a lot of the Sakul game where he played against him, or you're watching this game right now, but people just mentally play more defensive because you're playing against the name value of Tekkz. You just do. You don't realise you're doing it, but you drop an extra 5 yards deeper. Therefore, going forward, there is less room to attack. There's less space because you've got less players up the pitch, because you've got more players defending. When you're playing against a player not called Tekkz, and maybe you've not played him that much, you've not had that much LAN experience, and he's not on that pedestal for you, that's when people take him down. I specifically remember last January, the game Nicholas Razek versus Tekkz. He went in, Nicholas Razek showed him no respect whatsoever. And I think it was the most I've ever seen Tekkz beaten, and that were in January last year. In FIFA 19, because he didn't give him any respect. He didn't put him on a pedestal. He just went in and beat him. He played him at his own game. He attacked and attacked and attacked, and that's how you've got to beat Tekkz.
Yeah, most definitely, as you said. People will naturally go into a game against Tekkz and be slightly more defensive. That Razek game, was it FUT Champions Cup number 3 last year? He went on and was in that console final on the Xbox side because he was just so attacking, and just every single time that Tekkz asked a question of Razek, he was there. He had an answer for it. That answer was a goal, and just kept on extending his lead and making Tekkz come out and do stuff that he doesn't usually, obviously, familiar do for him. Speaking of obviously Tekkz, picked up a move to Fnatic, massive move for him.
Were you surprised when you saw the announcement?
I was surprised because it's a tough one. When you've got a handful of players, I'm talking like Dasari, Moalba, Tekkz, Gorilla, those kind of big players who've got big social followings. When they go to an event, they bring those extra 10,000 viewers, on Twitch. They have to have the right fit of a club. It has to be a big organisation that will fit like kind of them as a player and what they want to achieve in the year. Fnatic, a huge esports organisation, I didn't expect it.
Well, I know that Kojo has been wanting to get Tekkz for a while, even since he saw him sort of break onto the scene, you've got to say, in Barcelona in FIFA 18. However, since then, he's been just grinding and grinding and grinding. You saw him with F2, and now I think he looks much more comfortable with Fnatic.
Well then, it looks like we have got a very small technical issue just holding back this second leg to get underway from our second leg of this quarterfinal between Phil and Tekkz. So we are going to throw to a very short break. Do not go anywhere because we will be back for the second leg action very, very shortly.
Yes, guys, we are the F2, and today we're at the Parc des Princes, home of PSG, to run some spot checks.
We're here with EA Sports for the FIFA 20 player ratings.
This is not so much about the finishing. This is not a shooting drill. This is a speed and dribbling drill. So we're looking at the speed at which they can get through the course. You're against the clock.
Vamos.
Ready? Let's go!
Nice, Eddie, nice. Keep going. Sharp, I love that.
This is fast. Great first touch.
The finish.
Oh! Boom! Do you want to see the time?
What was it?
13.59. It's fast. Your speed of dribbling is one of the fastest in the world. We're grateful that you're here with us today. Go!
Nice, Angel. Keep going. Yeah, that's good. Excellent. 1, 2. Good. Close control. Beautiful.
Quick shot.
Yes! Well done.
That was fast, man. That was really fast. 13.44.
That's the quickest yet. These guys with a low centre of gravity seem to whip around them poles.
Go! Great feet through the ladder.
Yes. Good. 1, 2. Oh, good feet.
Great touch. Oh, great feet. And the finish.
Oh, lucky.
Oh my goodness, that's the quickest yet.
12.22.
12.22.
I don't know if anyone who tries this is going to beat that.
Let it take over.
How do you feel? Feel good?
We already trained today, so if there's 1-2 seconds missing, it's because of the training.
He's got his excuses in early. Let's do it.
Oh, nice, Julian.
That's fast.
That is fast. This is rapid.
When the beat start rocking, ain't nobody stopping us. Let it take. When your soul starts stirring.
Oh, wow.
Let it take over you. Let me show you
Whoa.
how fun your life can be.
Oh my God, got it! Guys, got it! I'll tell you what, you might have given Killian a problem.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying, 11.82.
See you tomorrow.
I don't know if Killian would even beat that because it's about the sharp turns and everything. It's not just about raw straight line speed. How are you, bro?
I'm with you.
Let it take over. Let it take over you.
Go.
When the beat start rocking, ain't nobody stopping us. Let it take
This
over
is fast.
you.
This is the fastest yet.
Let it take over you. Let it take over.
Nice, Killian. Keep going.
Let it take over.
Great feet.
Love that. And what's the finish? Yes! Oh my! Yes, Killian!
11.05.
11.05. That.
Let's go.
How do you feel?
Feel proud.
Wow. I don't know about you guys, but I loved every single second of that. We witnessed some serious speed today.
Jez, we witnessed serious speed, agility, control, and some finishing off the chain. It was phenomenal.
My mind is blown. Guys, don't forget you can get involved in the conversation using the hashtag FIFA Ratings.
Until next time, love, peace, and Tekkz.
Well, welcome back once again to Bucharest, of course, for the first FUT Champions Cup of the year as part of the FIFA 20 Global Series. We are into our quarterfinals. As you would have known, we just went for a very short break. We are back. The game is ready, we believe, as well, as we left it at 1-0 to Tekkz against Phil SKS, the Austrian FIFA player. We're heading into our second leg, Richard, and it should be a very enthralling matchup.
Yeah, pretty sure the connectivity issue has been resolved, and it looks as though we are fully underway to get into this second leg. If you are just joining us, this is a quarter-final tie. Tekkz was leading the first game 1-0 in quite a dominant game, you'd have to say, for Tekkz. He had the lion's share of the chances. He controlled the game, you've got to say. However, Phil SKS did create a few chances, and a little bit of goalkeeper movement was needed for Tekkz to salvage and come away with the 1-goal victory in the first game.
Well, here we are in our second leg now. See Phil SKS kicking from left to right in the Eski Strumgraz jersey. See Tekkz playing that beloved Liverpool strip from right to left. He is 1-0 up, as we said in this game. Whoever does go through will move into the next stage of the competition, which will be a semi-final spot, a top 4 spot on the Xbox, which will ensure they get a minimum of $7,500 and 800 Global Series points, which will be huge come early next week when we see those rankings refresh for the first time this year.
And surprise, surprise, Tekkz will be among the top 8 on the Xbox, guaranteed, as he's already solidified a top 8 finish. could be looking for the full 2,000 though after his weekend in Bucharest.
It was interesting last year. He set the record for the most global series points secured by any player. Over 10,000 of them. Is he going to have his first chance early on here? Played the ball as far. It's Garincha, and he was just offside. Tried to make that run. 9 minutes in, still 0-0.
I'm intrigued by the gap in between the first and the second leg. Who does this favour? Does this favour Phil or does this favour Tekkz? Phil to maybe calm his nerves.
And it's an interesting thing you say there, Rich, because people will be thinking, you know, what are you talking about? You're looking at that extended break between games. Some players just like to jump straight into a second leg when they're feeling good and they're playing the FIFA they know they can. When you have a big break, it can throw a player off.
Got to think Tekkz pretty much 97, 98% of the time will always go off for a drink, he'll go to the toilet, he'll do something in between the first and the second leg when he is playing in a competitive game of FIFA.
Yeah, we saw both players obviously go away for a little drink just to have a few minutes away from their obviously gaming set up their area on the stage of where they are playing these games. All knockout matches will be on stream now as well. So after this, we will have a FIFA feat show up against Spider Kong as Tekkz will get us going as well. That's the goal that Phil SKS would have not wanted to concede, as it will extend the deadlock to a 2-0 lead.
Cut it through the heart of that midfield right there, and that potentially one of the big reasons that R9 is in the squad, and I were alluding to it in the previous game. For Phil not to be using R9, it just feels like you're setting yourself from the start at a disadvantage. Yes, Messi is fantastic. Messi is very agile. He's got an unbelievable left foot. But as an out-and-out striker, R9 is the better striker. That's the facts of it.
We've just seen a prime example of it there in front of us, Richard. Just under 20 minutes in, Tekkz does find a second on aggregate. And it wasn't until around the 80th minute Sakul actually scored his first goal in the second leg. So, you know, take a look at that for, you know, how hard it is to break down Tekkz. That was after conceding 3 against him as well. That was around a 16 game, of course. Tekkz, the only unbeaten player left on Xbox in this tournament, regarding a 5-0 finish in Swiss yesterday. That's 5 wins for him. Comes out as the top seed from that Swiss format. Tries to have that shot in from Eusebio. Tried to have a turn on the ball, just blocked away, and a chance for Phil just to calm down. What we're 20 minutes into, it's been quite a frantic first 20 minutes.
A little bit of a snapshot from Eusebio there, from Tekkz. Hullet goes into the book as well. Could that potentially pay any sort of danger for Tekkz in this matchup? If Hullet gets sent off, you got around to 10 men. Maybe that could be the saving grace for Phil to try and get back into this game, because right now it's one-way traffic.
Oh, here we go. It's a second chance for him. Is he going to snatch this chance? He saw exactly what he wanted to do. So did Maldini. He was able just to pick that ball up from him. It was actually Mateus, my bad. So the German icon, he's dropped into one of those CDM roles to partner alongside Ruud Hullet. For me, he's a very good box-to-box midfielder.
Yeah, this tournament we've seen Hullet +1, haven't we? Who's been Hullet's +1 to the party? Has it been Vieira, sometimes Zidane, sometimes Mateus?
I haven't really seen anyone else other than that, have we? It's mainly been Vieira or Zidane. First time really looking at for Mateus.
I'm sure that will change throughout the year as well when we get Team of the Year drops. If road to the final, if Kante does a madness with Chelsea and he potentially makes a semi-final of the Champions League, you're going to be looking at like a 94, 95 Kante.
He's a very dangerous player to look out for. There's a pause cue by Phil SKS because, as you could have seen, he's been stuck in his own half for the first 35 minutes, nearly the first half in total. The pressure from Tekkz has been incredible. Gets to about here, and that's where he struggles with that extra pass to try and get out from his own half. This will be his first chance to do so. You can see Eusebio just trying to peel off. Not going to play that, obviously quite a high-risk pass to make for any pro. Instead, just a simple switch of play all the way across to Carlos Alberto. Mateus now. There's that through out to Neymar. Ball roll or two to try and just break him down. As we see pros do all the time, Richard, coming in from out wide, a few ball rolls in there, get it into around the box. We see a heel-to-heel to try and open up some space on top of that. Ball goes across the box and 9 times out of 10 finds the back of the net. Yeah,
most of the time when you get inside the box with defending this year, you don't really want to be diving into tackles because you see a lot of penalties gave. A lot of times you'll mistime a tackle and the player will just breeze past you. So people are dropping off, they're dropping deeper. You see there's no real intention to tackle right here. You're closing down, you're marking the passing lanes. That's what you're doing. You only tackle when you have to tackle, when it gets in and around the box. Then you've probably got about 10 yards between your penalty area and sort of where it's not dangerous, where you're not going to be shooting from any further than 30 yards, really. You've got between 28 and 18 yards where you have to tackle. That's where you have to squeeze to a man and press the ball and win it back, because if you don't, your opponent's inside your box, and 9 times out of 10, they're going to score or they're going to force any sort of save from your goalkeeper.
Well, that was the stat we wanted to see as well, Richard. 97% passing accuracy from Tekkz at half-time. Phil being reduced to no shots at all, no chances. We don't need to say it. If you don't take a shot or create a chance, you're not going to be scoring goals. And there's no surprise we are seeing potentially a change from Phil there. He's just going to compare how Tektz's team is looking. But we saw the half-time stats, Richard. It's been all Tekkz.
Yeah, he went into his custom tactics and changed something up, unfortunately. Unable to decipher the language barrier that was set out in front of myself. But if I were to guess it, I'd probably say press after possession loss, press on heavy touch, maybe even constant pressure. 2-0 down with 45 minutes left to go.
It's all to do.
You've got to show Tekkz that you're dangerous. You've got to show him that you can offer something going forward. Because at the minute, 0 shots on target. He's cruising right now.
He will control this game as well, Tekkz. He will look to control this matchup. That's one thing that I keep on just saying about Tekkz, is that he's got a plan F in his lock if he needs to, regarding how he can see out a match. A little skill move, a little extra, as we're seeing here. That's when a corner for his efforts. It was a fake shot away from Laurent Blanc that was able to get the shot in the end. It was Yashin that saved it away. Here comes the corner now. We're never seeing it played straight into the box. Garincha able to link in with Van Dijk of all people. It's fallen back to R9. It's quite fortunate as well. Yeah. The shot was never coming through with R9. Play it.
Very, very, very fortunate, because Van Dijk had no right to walk away with the ball there. He got tackled. The ball should have turned over. He managed to hold on to it, and then once it fell into R9, it's a simple finish.
What I wanted to say was that obviously the shot was never coming with Van Dijk. Wanted to play it into R9 and obviously try and get the shot away, in which he did, but we saw a change of custom tats, as you said, Rich. We're going to see another change of custom tats in front of us. Obviously, we can't break down exactly what we're seeing, but we know the scoreline, and we can break that one down for you. It's 3-0 to Tekkz, and with literally 40 minutes, if that left, Richard, it's an absolute mountain to climb for Phil.
Yeah, big task in front of him. He beat Sakul 3-1 in the round of 16, and now currently leading 3-0. The big difference for me, Tekkz, from last year to this year, what we've seen so far, he's just not conceding goals. His defence looks so solid.
Well, here's a chance for him. Richard has to score it. Allison with a huge save. That goes in. It's something for Phil to hold on to and try and build upon. But chances like that won't come around often against a player like Tekkz. You'll know that more than anyone. 30 minutes away from being our first semi-finalist on the Xbox. A new club for Tekkz this year, and Fnatic seems to be exactly what he needed to get himself going in the first major of the year.
Yeah, I thought as well, the way that we were talking about mental health earlier, and sometimes stepping away from the game and playing more events and not over burning yourself out. I thought that was really insightful. I think maybe a few pros needed to hear that as well.
Especially from someone that you'd say is the role model in the scene.
Yeah. someone doing it at the best in the world, arguably.
Has to finish this, has to finish it. Messi, Alisson just being an absolute animal in around the box.
There is this sort of ethos sort of around FIFA that you've got to play 12, 14 hours a day to be able to compete. Yeah, Tekkz is probably one of a kind in the way that he plays the game and the natural ability and skill that he's got. But I feel as though the burnout factor has hit a lot of pros. And maybe a few people could potentially take what he's saying, maybe apply it to yourself. It won't work for everybody. Some people need to play it 8-10 hours a day.
It's all about balance.
Yeah.
As well, Richard. Like, I completely agree with what you're saying. Like, naturally, I think in the many esports games that you feel like you've just got to grind and you've got to play 10 hours plus a day or however much. It's about having that balance. A lot of pros I know will play for 2-3 hours a day at night. That's, you know, that's in the evening, so they've got the rest of their day just to do what they normally want to do. You've
got different pros, and it's different horses for different courses. Different courses for different horses. They're saying something like that. I've done a Mike LaBelle there.
We'll talk about it after this chance. Phil SKS has got a pause queued, has to try and finish this one. He just can't get past Tekkz's defence or goalkeeper, it seems.
But you've also then got a player, for example, someone like Kyle Lees, who played over 5,000 games last year, and arguably was at his best when he was just playing as much as possible as the game, and perfection through attrition, you'd say, just grinding the game till he learnt it fundamentally and were perfect at the fundamentals.
No. Oh, no, Richard. And that will be, unfortunately, the end of Phil SKS's FUT Champions Cup campaign here in Bucharest. He was waiting to jump into a pause to have one final chance, one final go at it against Tekkz, and ball went back to the goalkeeper. I think he just dropped it at his feet. And we've seen it a few times from players, just kind of lazy mistakes. When you're 3-0 down already on aggregate, now it's 4-0, you are naturally going to feel a little bit, obviously, negative going into that game. Ball just snatched off the feet of Yashin Richard, and it will be Tekkz. It will be our first semi-finalist.
Yep, surprise, surprise, Tekkz will be making his way into the top 4 players on Xbox. He will be setting up a semi-final with the winner of Spider Kong and FIFA FICO.
Again, 2 players that we never really saw last year either.
Yeah, on the other side of the bracket, you've got FUT Lyrics against Rafsu, which, whew, that's going to be an absolute cracker of a game. And Nicholas Razek versus Dylan Mike. Both won on penalties to set up their quarterfinal tie.
A German matchup as well, Richard.
Would you say the right-hand side of the bracket, Lyrics, Rafsu, Razek and Mike, Dylan Mike, versus Tekkz, Phil SKS, FIFA FICO and Spider Kong, that right-hand side of the bracket is definitely more stacked than the left-hand side. I mean, you've got 3
so stacked.
3 grand finalists, Rafsu, Razek, Dylan Mike. All 3 of those players at the FIFA 19 FEWC Championships.
And there's a reason why they're still in the knockouts now, Richard, and they could be in for a chance of being within the top 4 on Xbox. We know how the Global Series Masters works as well, with players moving into the next FUT Champions Cup if they do place within the top 4 in each console. And this is when Tekkz can have a little bit of fun now. A few skill moves out from him. He's 4-0 up on aggregate. And the key thing for him is he'll be leaving this game without conceding a goal, Richard.
He'll also be leaving and potentially leaving the venue for today because he's done. He's wrapped up his day. He's played his round of 16. He'll have played his quarter-final. And what time is it? 3:30 local time here in Bucharest. He can go home, get some food, go to the hotel, get an early night's sleep.
It's a nice early finish as well, isn't it?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Some players on the PlayStation that are going to be playing later today might not be finished until 9-10 p.m. local Romanian time. So then you've got to say the early finish would be much, much more beneficial.
Well, as we said, we know the kind of surroundings regarding Phil SKS and how he'll be at the next FUT Champions Cup. And to go into the knockouts in your first major of the year is still a huge achievement for him, Richard. Again, he's representing his club. He's representing Austria. He's picked up 500 Global Series points as well, which is going to be big for him. He'll be in the top 20, obviously on the rankings. Tekkz obviously will be one of those top 10 players on there as well. It's really going to be a great start for him. He's going to be back in Bucharest when the tournament does come back in just a few weeks' time. It's important to get points down nice and early and a little bit of prize money as well to leave with.
Potentially setting up a rematch as well. Both of these 2 players going to be back in Bucharest for FUT Champions Stage 2.
Phil SKS, can he get himself a goal into Hullet?
Oh, it's just not been his day, has it? It's
Can Van Dijk just move? Can Van Dijk just move out of the way? It's like him and Alisson just make this wall together. And the ball just simply cannot break through it. One more chance for Phil SKS. It'll be a consolation. If anything, off the post, nothing's going in for Phil.
And another clean sheet to add for Fnatic Tekkz. That will take us into a full time here
And
in the first quarterfinal.
Enough to send Tekkz into the semi-finals, and that'll be all we'll see of this man for day 2 in Bucharest. He'll be back again for day number 3, our first championship Sunday. And of course, you always love to see that. A laugh between both players right at the end. It's not all doom and gloom, though, for Phil SKS. 500 Global Series points, Richard. $3,500 he will leave with. Of course, me saying that right now to him, he's not going to care about that right now. Of course, he would have wanted to win that game and move into the last 4 in the semi-finals. But we'll know that we're back in the next FUT Champions Cup, Richard. He's got those points behind him as well. As we said, we'll put him in the top 10. Not the top 20. Obviously, he's in the last 8 on Xbox, so he will be...
He'll be in the top 8, yeah.
Yeah, he'll be in the top... There's only 8 players left. He'll be in the top 10. It's not a bad tournament for him.
You've also cemented FUT Champions Cup 2 qualification after this quarterfinal result as well. So you've got to say, quite a positive weekend here in Bucharest for Phil SKS. But Tekkz is one of your first 4 players in the Xbox semi-final. That's enough from us at the desk. Spencer, back to you guys on the couch.
Keeps on going. You cannot stop the Tekkz train.
What can you say? I mean, it was just... He looks like he's playing in his own, bedroom at the moment, doesn't he? He just looks so comfortable. Nobody is troubling him, and I'm lost for words at this point. It's just like he's just turned up here, said he hasn't played a lot of the game, and still is so much better than everyone else, or seems to be at the moment. Just doesn't look challenged. It's freaky talent.
He doesn't, and actually, you know how I was saying, I don't know what other game he plays outside of FIFA at home. Tass actually messaged me and said, it's Rocket League and I play against him. So maybe it's something to do with Tass playing Rocket League with Tekkz is why he's doing so well. I don't know, but it could be to do with it. But this is how he got into the last 4 here.
Yeah, it's a clean sheet as well over 2 legs. I mean, and you have to say Phil was pretty unlucky to not get a goal towards the end there. He's multiple woodworks, and I think Tekkz would acknowledge that he probably deserved a goal or 2. But you can't argue with Tekkz's defending. Clean sheet over 2 legs at this level is very difficult to do. And we're going to see an interview of him in a bit. But these are the goals as they went in. And this was late in the first leg here. Good defending to stop it going to 2-0, because that would have been a difficult one for Phil to overturn. But going into the second leg at 1-0 down, there was still a chance for Phil, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think so. If you're going in second leg just 1-0 down to Tekkz, anything can happen, but then it is Tekkz. Maybe not so much happens as it saw there. But yeah, you got 90 minutes to try and get a goal. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. Tekkz got another one and kind of wrapped it up, didn't he?
The difficulty of conceding first against Tekkz is that you have to then, at some point in the game, push more players forward. Now, the way that Tekkz defends, he likes to win the ball as high up the pitch as he possibly can. If you're pushing players forward and he manages to win it in midfield, or he manages to pinch it off of a fullback or something, your midfield and your strikers are so committed, it leaves Tekkz in the position he wants to be, which is 1v1 situations, get inside the box. And you can see what he does here is quick passing, and everything that he does is based on getting a 1v1 situation against the defender.
Well, that was big Virgil van Dijk helping out going forward there, which is massive for Tekkz as a Liverpool fan. And then another error here. You've got to argue, Phil will be annoyed about that one.
You can't win the ball any higher up the pitch than that, to be fair.
That's a dead certain goal. The one before that, you had Van Dijk playing up front. The one before that, interestingly, Phil put the offside trap on. Do you see? Put the offside trap on, and Tekkz just timed it perfectly.
Yeah, it's just magic. He just seems to know every facet of FIFA 20. He knows how to score goals. But I think you made a great point here is defensively was maybe the start of FIFA 19. We're all talking about how amazing offensively that Tekkz was throughout the season. He got better defensively. But FIFA 20, his game seems to be built on this solid defence. And then when he gets to that final third, that's when the flair kind of appears.
So if you look at the shots on goal, you'd argue, as we mentioned, Phil was unlucky not to get a goal. He had over half the shots that Tekkz got, of course, but there's a 4-0 scoreline. The only one that matters, again, the pass completion, 95% from Tekkz, so close to perfect. A little bit more possession, but not much between them. Tackles even as well. So it's not so much that he's getting more chances, that he's taking them.
Yeah, I mean, he's just deadly in front of goal. And it's also, the chances he creates are high percentage chances. We always talk about, Mike's really good at explaining it himself. The best players in the world will create the best chance to guarantee themselves scoring a goal. It's very rare that you'll see Tekkz score something that you wouldn't expect from a lot of players. It'll be a cutback, you know, it'll be an extra ball over, it'll be a 1v1 with the goalkeeper. Something like that. He's not going to produce a 40-yard shot out of nowhere, you know. He's high percentage chances so that he can convert those chances. I'm so impressed with him, like genuinely so impressed. He just seems to be on another level to everyone else at the moment.
And we know we're going to see Phil again because even though he didn't get the top 4 spot himself, the fact that he lost to Tekkz meant that he gets the qualification for the next event because Tekkz doesn't need it, and Tekkz was the player that beat him in qualification. So we expecting to see another strong performance from Phil next time out?
Another tournament, anything can happen, but obviously he's got a couple of weeks to kind of go home, reset. I'm sure they will look back and reassess and have a little look at the competition that they've had here. And I guess if I was him, I'd be looking at what Tekkz is doing. He obviously played him in the Swiss and just now behind us, so I think he's played him a lot before.
And in the qualifiers as well.
He keeps saying, like, is this my unlucky draw now? I keep getting Tekkz. But I think if you're going to keep playing Tekkz, surely that's a good thing. You can take a lot.
Well, you've got to play the best to be the best.
And I think, you know, he's not going to ever be worried now against going up against Tekkz. Okay, he's got beaten by him all these times, but you know, it's fine. He's done it, and he'll just hopefully one of these days we'll get that W.
The big thing
we'll get that green dot
for him as well is not only by qualifying for the next event, that's obviously huge for him, but that's guaranteed points as well for him. So by putting in a big performance here, he's guaranteed himself more Global Series points. So as we roll through the season, that could be the difference between him making a playoff spot, between making finals, you know, little things like that. That performance there, getting to where he has, could be huge for his season.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll hope that he doesn't play Tekkz in the next Champions Cup. But like you say, you've got to be prepared to play anyone. And obviously, that's the Xbox side. We're going to see more games from that in a minute. Tekkz continuing his domination from last year. But if we look over to the PlayStation bracket, which I've got here, there's going to be a new name sitting on top of the PlayStation leaderboard that we didn't see on top of it last year. And then what does that mean? Does that mean that Tekkz is just superhuman, that he's able to... Because I don't think maybe more casual players won't really understand how hard it is to maintain the level Tekkz is maintaining across a new game.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, it's a new game. Yes, there are elements which are very similar in FIFA. You know, FIFA's FIFA at the end of the day. It's a football-based game. There's going to be things that you can transition over from one game to the next. But the ability to find those nuances, to find the way to play and be effective across new titles, every 12 months, it's a new learning process for every single player. And there's always players in other games that are known for being brilliant at the start of a game. They just pick up on these new things. They pick up on the new mechanics, the nuances of the game, and Tekkz is one of those. And last year it was people catching up with Tekkz and the meta that he set early in the year. So that's going to be an interesting thing to watch as we move through the events.
And you say it's on a different platform as well, but a lot of these people have to play that platform, don't they, at the end as well? So it's obviously a cross-console final. So I think they'll be watching as well on the PS4 side of things exactly what Tekkz has been doing on the Xbox.
Well, it's interesting to see how many people actually changed console this year. And Tekkz, one of the biggest names that chose not to. Dasari also stayed put. But so many players have moved. And Tekkz, I liked it because he kind of backed himself. He's going, I don't need to move. I'm going to stay. Had such a good year last year. I want to keep it going again. But we have actually got an interview with the main man himself, Tekkz, who's obviously got himself into the top 4. He didn't need the Masters qualification because he'd already qualified for the next event, as you'd expect when it's Tekkz. But he's got it anyway. And I think Mike's with him with a little prize for him.
I am joined by the man, the myth, some would say the legend, F2 Tekkz, or sorry, excuse me, Tekkz with Fnatic now. Excuse, my bad, my mistake there. So we have something brand new here, the FIFA Global Series Masters, which means, of course, this is yours, not mine, which means that you've qualified for the next event, which is brand new to this year's competitive ecosystem, which I think is a really good introduction. We saw that game. Some would say maybe he deserved a goal.
Yeah,
but what did it feel for? How did you feel in that game? In the first leg, you know, it was a close game. You had a couple opportunities where you didn't necessarily convert. And typically, FIFA will punish you for that. In the second leg, it was pretty much all Tekkz.
Yeah, the whole tournament I felt comfortable defending. I haven't really conceded many goals. I think I've conceded like 8, and I don't know how many legs of FIFA that is, but that's quite a lot since I'm in the semi-final now. So defending I've been fine, but attacking is either I have it or I don't. So like today I haven't attacked very well, but today's over now for me. So we're going to tomorrow, and hopefully I can attack like I did yesterday and score some nice free-flowing goals.
We still saw the skill moves. It had moments there where we were seeing some of the creativity. Maybe you didn't convert off the skill move, but you had the first step around somebody. And your next matchup is either going to be SpiderCon or FIFA Feat Show. Is there anyone that you have a preference to go up against?
Not really. I've played FIFA before online, and he's really good. It's like our record's actually like even against each other. We probably played 4 or 5 times. So like when he tries, he's really good. So I've played him. Never played Spider Kong though, so I'll be interested to play him. But either one, I don't really mind as long as I'm gonna wait for the KSI Logan Paul fight later.
And I know that you're extremely critical of your gameplay, win, lose, draw, whatever. You're always trying to get better, trying to make improvements. Is there anything that you're going to adjust going forward? Is there anything that you took from that matchup and said, all right, I want to make sure that I'm a little bit more clinical here, or I have my build-up, or my closeout play? Anything to kind of take from that game?
Yeah, obviously I want to be more clinical. I've had a few chances which I just didn't score. I didn't even shoot. I tried to get an even better chance, but to be honest, I'm happy with how I've played as a whole. Like, I don't feel like I deserve to lose any game. I feel like I dominated. So I just played a game in front of me. If I win, I win. If I lose, I lose.
I hear you. And congrats again for guaranteeing yourself. You're now into the top 4. You got the Masters. I know that you always dream bigger. Back to the couch. What are you guys saying?
Yeah, I'm just thoroughly impressed, to be honest, with Tekkz, because it's his 3rd year as a competitor. Technically, it's his 3rd different team if you count his 1st year as unsigned as a team. But it's the same result. Well, not yet, because he hasn't won this event, but he's looking like the bookie's favourite to go on and win this event, and if he does, it will be the same event 3 years in a row. How impressive is that?
That's incredible. It's unprecedented, really. So you have to say that's an incredible start to every single year. And I joked on commentary, by the way, that Tekkz was going to fight the winner of the Logan Paul KSI fight because he's doing the whole boxing thing. I think he's doing it. I think he's mentioned it there. I think there's a little seed being planted here. Maybe we're going to see it. He's going to fight the winner, I'm telling you.
Yeah, but Mike just asked there, who do you prefer to face, FIFA or Spider Kong? Well, surely he doesn't want to face Spider Kong because that's who just knocked out Dastari. Not sure if Tekkz knows that, but he said he obviously played FIFA quite a lot, even record, but on qualification online, is that really the same thing? I don't know.
But it depends, you know, because some part of me thinks he might want to play Spider Kong for exactly that reason, because then he can say he beat the guy.
He loves doing that.
Sorry, exactly. Yeah. But if he does stay up for that fight, by the way, it's not great prep for the final. It's 6 a.m. in Romania.
Well, do you remember last year he was saying that I play my best FIFA when I don't sleep?
But he also said he doesn't want to even be in the final because he wants to watch Liverpool play. So he says all these things and he'll be in the final.
You have to take everything with a pinch of salt.
Pinch of salt, isn't it? Obviously, we've got another game coming up soon. Should we find out who it's going to be between? This is a big one, of course. Every single game now is a quarter-final. And that trophy, by the way, that Mike's given Tekkz there is going to go to every single person that wins a game at this round. They get into that last 4, they get a physical trophy, and they get Masters status, which means they've qualified. Tekkz didn't need it. He'd already qualified online. But it gets it anyway. Adds it to the cabinet. How big must his cabinet be, by the way, now?
It's getting there, isn't it?
Trophy
cabinet.
Going
to have to get another one soon. I think they moved house, so maybe that was to accommodate this new trophies. Maybe he's expecting more this season. That's what it is.
Well, the next game on Xbox, obviously, as Mike mentioned there, is going to be Spider Kong versus FIFA Feature, we believe is the correct pronunciation, but we'll get that confirmed. We've also got Jeffrey Crazy. I think we're going to go to PlayStation 4, I should say, to correct that. So we're going to see Jeffrey Crazy on the PS4 next. We're going to change console. So what do we know about Jeffrey and Crazy? I know Jeffrey's from Germany. Crazy's from Italy. I'm just being told we are going to watch the Spider Kong game, so I was right the first time.
Keeping you guessing.
So thank you, Sebastian. We're going to watch the Xbox game. Just go back to that one then. Spider Kong FIFA Feature. Spider Kong has beaten them as Dastari, as you've mentioned. He's a name that I'm certainly a little bit more familiar with than FIFA Feature. Is that going to give him the favourite status?
I mean, the thing is, for both of these players now, it's such a huge opportunity, isn't it? You know, you win one game here and you're into a quarterfinal. Sorry, it's quarterfinals now, isn't it? This is not a round of 16 game because it's Xbox. So huge opportunity to not only get huge amounts of points, but if you get into the next round with some of the names that have gone out that we've been talking about, this is a huge opportunity to set your season up. And we looked back on last year. I think if you won one FUT Champions Cup, you're pretty much guaranteed, if you had a few other points picked up throughout the season, to be in competition. You definitely get to the playoffs. So, like, this is a massive opportunity for these guys to pick up points. And as I said, it's not just now, it's the rest of the season that could be the implication. But I don't know. I genuinely don't know who's going to win this next game. I think it's going to be a very interesting one to watch, not only for now, but as I say, them getting this far in the tournament, we could be seeing them a lot this year.
Yeah, and obviously getting through this next game gets them qualification for the next event. Then they've got the easy task of playing Tekkz, who's a man on fire right now. So we're going to have a quick break now. When we come back, we've got that game to look forward to, Xbox quarter-final FIFA Feature versus Spider Kong. See you in a second.